Hi, everyone, and welcome to Preparing for Lunch. Today, we're going to introduce UKSEDS and the plan for this podcast. UKSEDS is the UK's National Student Space Society. The aim of this podcast is to simply help students start their careers in space through entertainment, education, advice, and insights. The space sector can be a really daunting one to enter, and we want to educate students as much as we possibly can about it. We will have a different guest each episode sharing their story and experience with a career in space and any expertise that they might have. Like the title says, we are preparing for the launch of your space career or just any interest in space. Just a little introduction on myself. My name is Caroline Swenson, and I'm a first year physics student with a concentration in aerospace and minor in journalism. That's not confusing at all, at the Uni of Notre Dame in the US. I am currently a content writer for UKSEDS spacecareers.uk and the host for this podcast. I'm obsessed with all things astronomy and spaceflight, so I really just want to share my passion for this with everyone. To introduce UKSEDS today, we have their chair, Jacob Smith, joining us.
Time is X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
So today we have Jacob Smith, the current chair of UKSEDS. So welcome, Jacob.
Hi everyone, thanks Caroline. So I'm here today to help introduce the podcast and what UKSEDS is all about. My name is Jacob Smith. I am the current chair of UKSEDS and I am a student at Cranfield University. I'm studying astronautics and space engineering, and just like Caroline, always been interested in space. I joined UKSEDS in October 2018, so about a year and a half ago now, and I've been involved as a volunteer, as lead of the careers team, which runs the spacecareers.uk website, and now as chair.
Amazing. So with UKSEDS, can you tell us more about its mission?
Yeah, of course. So UKSEDS is the National Student Space Society. So we represent the student body in the space sector. We are there to basically form the link between students, young professionals, and the space sector itself. So what we really want to see is a thriving space sector in the UK. And we want to see an accessible, inclusive, and diverse space sector in the UK, where anyone can contribute and enjoy what they're doing, no matter their background, no matter what they're doing. That's really what we want to see. And there are loads of exciting things going on now, and lots of exciting things planned in the future. But of course, we want the sector to keep growing. We want to see it keep growing and growing. And it's those people who are students now, whether you're in school, at university, or if you're graduates, you are the future. And you're going to be the ones driving the innovation and growth in 10, 20, 30 years' time. So to enable that, we, UKSEDS, are here to educate young people about the sector and jobs within it, and to provide opportunities for you to develop some of the skills that you might need to be successful. And so we have hundreds of members across the country. We have hundreds of just individual members and also hundreds more in societies. So students could be a member of their society at university, for example. So there could be engineering, physics, astronomy, just space societies at universities across the country that are affiliated with us at UKSEDS. Anyone can be a member. As long as the only requirement is for you to be a student or have been in the last 3 years, it's free to join. And as I mentioned, also consider joining your university society if there's one there, or making one if not. And so we kind of bring all these societies together, and there's lots of benefits you can get from joining UKSEDS as well, such as applying for funding, grants for travel, and lots of other things which we'll talk about later. So we are a charity, and we are run solely by volunteers. We are all students and young professionals doing this in our free time. And I have to say, joining is the best thing that I've ever done. Joining as a volunteer, everyone is so lovely, encouraging. It's such a relaxed and fun atmosphere, and there's tons of opportunities for personal development, and just a variety of things to get involved with. So I definitely recommend applying to volunteer. So maybe Caroline is well placed to actually talk about what it's done for you.
Definitely. I think that's something also just stress that like anyone can join. You don't have to be in a massive school that's really sciencey or have had a work experience in space or any. You don't have to have any of that. I joined just by signing up for the email list, and it sounds cheesy, but it really has changed my life. And I think something else to say as well is that you can kind of find your niche in UKSED. So I entered as a space content writer, and I'm like passionate about journalism and writing and just space media and books, everything related to science journalism.
Mm.
And that's how I kind of entered. And I think Jacob, you can agree that everyone in UK says whatever they're working on, that's like their passion and niche and like specific role.
Yeah.
And you can do anything you want. You can do many things. I'm doing the podcast and content writing, and there's many kind of subsections of it you can do, but you can kind of just find what you love within it. It's all space, but there's many things you can do in it. So yeah, it has done so much for me. I think the biggest thing is that the space industry is a really daunting one to go into, and I didn't really feel like I actually could go into the industry, kind of actually believe myself until I joined UKSEDS. I think through school I always wanted to, and it was kind of my aim, but deep down I didn't actually think I could. And it wasn't until meeting everyone in UKSEDS and like going to the conference and just talking to people that I thought, oh wow, like this is actually a possibility. And it's because the space industry, the career path isn't as outlined as, let's say, like medicine or law are. Those are great, but it's kind of okay, you go to this qualification, then you do this, and then you do this, and you do apprenticeship, and then you do this. It's kind of the space industry is not as laid out as that. And that's kind of the nature of it. Like space isn't as like straightforward as anything else. You literally are leaving the world. So
it's easy.
Exactly. So it's not, by definition of a job title, your career isn't going to be as kind of simple as that. I think
But
that's how it is.
that means there's so many paths. There's no one set route. Your own way there.
In what industry are there doctors, lawyers, publicists, writers, like business analysts, just everything in the space industry? So you really, because eventually we do want to kind of have a whole niche of people up there. There are so many jobs you can have. Like one of my friends wants to be a space lawyer, and he's doing law and then getting a master's in space law. In what industry would you do that? And he's working with scientists and engineers and doctors and writers, and it's a one industry where I think it really encompasses all kinds of careers in one sector, which adds to the community and why the community is so spectacular. There's just such a wide diversity of people and their careers and interests but it's all under the underlying passion of space.
Yeah, and we really need to get rid of this perception that it is just for engineers and scientists, as you mentioned, or the lawyers, also other sciences like life sciences, to do with astronauts or astrobiology, things like that. Computer scientists, programmers. There's so many things, and it's so important to remember also that a space company is just like any other company. It needs to run just like another company. So you need the HR people, public communications people, finance, business. It's something for everyone. And if you're interested in space, I don't think that there's nothing for you. Follow a path, and hopefully it can lead you to a fulfilling and enjoyable career. And also remember that it's not difficult. It might seem difficult from the outside, but it's no more challenging than anything else. There's just maybe fewer opportunities, it seems, from the outside, but if you look for them, they are there, and you can do it.
Exactly. And I think personally for me, having the structure and support from UKSA has been instrumental. Like you said before, the community of it, and just as a whole, is such a unique one where everyone is just so passionate about what they're doing and genuinely supportive of their peers. For example, I think the most memorable event for me at UKSEDS was definitely the National Student Space Conference in Birmingham in March. And we just got to meet so many people from the industry and heard about their inspirational stories of being in the space sector, and just their passion and advice was invaluable to me.
Yeah, just to let everyone know, this is the National Student Space Conference. It's our biggest event of the year. When I say big, it is quite big. We've sold out the last couple of years at 500 tickets. 2-day event over the weekend. It's always the first weekend in March, and as Caroline said, it features all sorts of talks, panels with leading figures in the space sector. A huge careers fair with all sorts of established and also upcoming startups in the space sector. So there's tons of networking and learning opportunities. Just to give you a little taste of the variety of topics that we have. The panel discussions at our conference we just had in March 2020, they were based around sustainability of space, diversity and inclusion in the sector, the use of space data, and lunar exploration. So forward-looking, current, and exciting topics, a range of topics, and talks on even more different topics. So there's something for you. And the conference moves around the country every year. So Caroline said the last one was in Birmingham. However, universities will be applying. So keep an eye out on our social media. More details will be released later this year. But when tickets come out, be quick. They will sell out. I'm warning you.
Yeah, I think I almost didn't get a ticket. So they really are getting sold out.
That was really good.
But it's okay. I got one in the end, so it was okay. So speaking of online social media, the interwebs, I feel like online there's so much on UKSEDS website and spacecareers.uk, just loaded with so much information on the space sector and really useful tools. Can you highlight some of the kind of upcoming events or things that the website is doing right now?
Yeah, so talk about spaceflight.uk, obviously holds a special place in my heart, having led the team for a year. And this is a big thing that Caroline is involved with, actually. So we have all sorts of advice articles on the website for students at school, all the way up to master's level and graduates, PhDs. And these advice articles, check them out. Also, we have all sorts of things like interviews with people working in the space sector, so you can see what they're actually doing in their job, how they got there, any advice, job profiles as well, so you can see what jobs involve and different routes into them. And these are being updated all the time. We're getting more and more written, and we're also focusing, as we said before, on jobs, non-STEM jobs. So things like business roles, management roles, policy roles. You can see people read about people's paths to those roles. So that's a large part of the spacecareers.uk website. We also have job postings on there. So early career roles, internships, direct entry roles, work experience, apprenticeships. We advertise all these sorts of jobs on there. So have a look if this is something that you're looking for. Other events that we do, we have physical careers events, also online careers events where you can hear from people directly about their paths, and at the physical ones, obviously, you get to meet them and grill them on whatever you want about their careers and really find out what you want specific to your background. And they move around the country as well. We are the National Society, so there'll hopefully be something near you. Other things that we do are Diversity in Space Careers event. So this is a one-day celebration of the diversity of people and careers in the space sector. So look out for that this upcoming year. So I could talk about the careers website forever, but I won't. But Caroline, what have you found from working on this website?
So I'm a content writer for spacekareers.uk, and I absolutely love it because I can just research a new kind of job in the industry that I might have not even known that it existed. For example, astrochemist. I didn't really know about astrochemistry before I did the job portfolio, but then I researched a lot about it, learned about it, and then kind of created this job portfolio. And I think it's so helpful because, like I said before, there's so many jobs in the space industry. It's not just like astronaut, engineer, artist. There's so many. And I think it's just really interesting exploring that. And I found myself like reading about these jobs and I'm like, oh, maybe I could do that. And I'm like, no, writing is always for me. But it's just really eye-opening to see just the depth of things in the industry. And my co-content writer, Christina, and I are working on a Space 101 page. And that's basically just everything about the space industry, as it says. My co-content writer, Christina, and I are working on a Space 101 page. And that basically is what it says. Just a whole page on everything you can possibly think of in the UK space industry. And that's just to educate people on what the space industry is. And like I said before, it's more than just like a rocket launch. It's so much. And I think it's hard just to Google what's the space sector, but this is basically aimed just to teach students everything there is to know if you want to enter it, thinking about entering it, or just you're interested in it. And I think it's really enjoyable because you just get to learn more about space industry every time you write something for it. And I'm really passionate about space writing just because I love the creative aspect of writing, and I have forever, but also love space. And it's just kind of a way to be creative in a scientific field and just learn more and just read more. I'm such a nerd for reading and learning about space that I just always want to do it. I find that journalism is an excellent way just to share your passion with space with others. And I really wish that I knew about space careers when I was younger, because I find that it's hard to find things that are tailored and like aimed towards students in space. It's either kind of really younger things, but they're great. Like I love those too when I was younger, but when you're in school and university, it's kind of hard to find things that are aimed at you. A lot of things are either aimed towards adults, people in the industry, or younger kids in the primary school. So it's this nice in between of just trying to like help and educate students. And yeah, it's been fantastic. It helps me a lot. I'm tuning into a webinar next week about CV writing, and it's obviously really helping me as I'm applying for new jobs, internships, and everything.
And so you are helping so many people by doing this.
Hopefully. That's just what I want. I just want to tell people that you can enter the space industry and just do it. Like just try it and just go into it. And even if you don't want to enter it, you just want to learn about it. It's just a great website to kind of just like
and this is why outreach is such a big part of what we do as well. Why it's so important for anyone interested in space to educate younger people or just the general public on why exploration, why development of space is important to life here on Earth. So other things that we do, so we run the Student Space Ambassador Program. So this is a really cool workshop, half-day workshop, where we train students who are wanting to learn how to do outreach, specifically for space. So we work with some good partners for this. And if you don't maybe have the confidence, but you're interested in doing this, look out for these events. It's what I really got involved with at the start of joining UKSEDS. So that's the Student Space Ambassador workshops. So you can learn how to do outreach and find out about all these amazing resources to use as well.
And I think outreach is really important too for students, because I find that it can get quite frustrating when you're just doing like exam and past paper after past paper, like the CGP guides packing up. And it gets kind of like a dead end in a way, but doing that outreach makes students realize like, oh wow, like what I'm revising towards. Exactly. And you can go into the industry, and at one point like you will take your exams and they'll be over and you can like start your career. And I find that it's really nice
this
to know
hands-on experience is really good to gain.
Just like wow, like what I'm learning in physics right now, I'm actually going to use in my life. So it's nice.
Yeah.
Love
this
physics,
is also a big part of our UKSEDS competitions. So these are really there to provide students and young professionals with these hands-on skills. So we have competitions for designing and launching rockets, satellites, Mars rovers. So these are all really exciting, lengthy, like 1 year long competitions. And they are informed by industry. So we work with industry partners, and we really try and make them as similar to how a real industry project was run as possible, so students can get this taste of how a space project runs for real. And then by the time they then get around to job applications, they've had this experience of taking part in one of these competitions, and they can talk about it, and they know what to sort of expect when they enter the industry. So they're really helpful competitions, I think.
Yeah, I think anything to simulate the actual industry is so useful, and also kind of it is so motivating. Like, wow, this is what I'm going to be doing in like 5 years' time. Whenever I did competitions like that in school, it just made me want to work harder in my exams. It's kind of a nice little cycle of just having a taste for the sector and industry and working harder than entering it.
Yeah, definitely. So just look out for anything that's going on in the space community, and Actually, we have in one of our upcoming episodes someone talking just about this. Do you want to give us a quick overview, Caroline?
Yeah, so Harriet Brettel, the business analyst at Astroscale, which is a company that works on space debris, she talks about the space community and opportunities for young people in the space sector, and that's episode 2. And speaking of episode 1 is Dallas Campbell discussing science communication, the power of storytelling, and advice about how you can get involved as well in science. So these are 2 really exciting episodes that are coming up after this.
I really can't wait for those.
I'm excited.
I've heard them, and I'm really excited for everyone else to hear them. They're really good.
Yay.
Loads of great advice.
Well, thank you so much, Jacob, for joining us today, and I'm really excited.
I'm really excited too. Thanks for having me, and I hope to see some of you out and about at some space events in the near future.
Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.